Welcome to Essential Money Talks. Today we have a special guest, Kirralee Parsons, who did one of my 8-week group courses at the end of 2021. And so welcome, Kirralee.
Thanks, Sherri.
And so tell me, can you think maybe of your first experience with money when you were a little kid? Or the first thing you bought that you remember that you bought with some money?
As a little kid, it was always $2 worth of chicken salt chips.
Oh, right, okay.
Going for a bike ride, that'll be the reward. I'd get my $2 from doing the washing up, and we'd go for a bike ride and buy hot chicken salt chips.
Oh, right. Oh, very good. And so as a child, what was your money mindset? Did you think, oh, we're rich, we're poor? What did you think about money?
I think from the family I grew up in, I knew that we probably weren't rich because we couldn't do what everyone else could always do. But I knew that we weren't poor either. We always had enough, and Mum was really good at budgeting and finding things half price and shopping around for the best deals. So I had good money influences in my life. My mum was very good with it.
Excellent. And that's so important, because as you know, when we go to school, we aren't taught about money. So it's not really their responsibility anyway. It would just be nice if they would, in the 12 years you're at school, if they would maybe teach you a bit about money, because they're actually teaching you and educating you so you get a job that pays you money. But you're very blessed to have a mother who was wise with money and taught you those skills. So tell me how you found out about a spending planner and what was your financial story before you met me and a spending plan?
Yeah, well, I was considering buying a house. I was in the process of finalizing the purchase. And a friend of mine who'd already bought a house some time ago, who knows you through going to school with your daughter, she suggested this program and directed me to the Facebook page, and I definitely needed some clarity at that time. I just had all these new bills that I didn't understand how to plan for. I knew I probably had enough money, but I didn't know the timings of everything. So she thought she could see that I needed help, and she knew that you did this program. So I'm glad that she recommended it.
Oh yeah, excellent, yeah. And it's we don't always, there's a lot of things we don't know. And buying a big house. And first of all, congratulations. I think I won't say your age, but you're young. And that you have purchased your first place. And it is different from renting. There are a lot more expenses that come when you buy a home. And so it's good to have a money management system to make sure and give you that peace of mind that you can cover all those added expenses as well as the ones you had before.
Definitely.
And so we started, and you joined the 8-week group course. Tell me, what was the benefits of doing it with other people? Did you find that was a positive thing or a negative thing?
For the most part, it was positive. I mean, a lot of the sessions we got to ask our personal questions anyway, and by everybody else asking their questions, we learned from each other. And we were all in very different life stages and had different money worries, but there's something that's going to affect everybody at those different phases in life, When I have a family, I now know that this has been beneficial for another mother who has kids. When I maybe do my own business one day, I know that this has been beneficial for that other lady in her program who's a self-employed person. So I could see how it applied to all these different phases in life. But me, at the very beginning of it all, I mean, it was good for me to be there and start early to get it all under control now, so that I don't have as many problems later on.
Exactly. And you are so smart. My youngest client has been 17.
Wow.
And, in grade 12 of school, and she realized she wasn't going to be taught and she wanted to be educated. And so it was really good because she got really excited that she could pay for her own formal and her schoolies, where most kids at her age was just wanting their parents to pay for it, where she wanted to be an adult and make those decisions. And so, yeah, it's never too young and it's never too old. I even have a money program for kids, for parents, how to teach their kids the 17 money truths that they need to know before 18. So I kind of call it my 17 before 18, because they're not going to be taught it in school. So it's important for you, when you become a parent, to teach your kids those important money truths, because if you don't, they're going to be taught by consumerism, and consumerism is going to tell them to get into debt, and that's okay, to buy now and worry about it later. But we know that that's not the way to do it, that the number one money truth is save and then spend. And if you follow that money truth, then you will do very well financially in life.
And for that reason, I wish I'd found it earlier.
Yes,
I wish I had a bigger deposit to put down.
Yes, and it's funny because I quite often get singles who are around 29 that contact me, because they basically had 10 years of, maybe in half that time they were maybe living at home or still living at home, and they're working full time, and they were just spending all their money. And then it gets to the point where they're thinking, okay, maybe I need to start to be grown up and start maybe thinking about, spending my money wisely or investing it into a home. And that's what you did. And so well done on doing that. And okay, and so tell me, what were some of the benefits that you have seen from having your spending plan?
Yeah, well, for me, I was one of those people in my late 20s who had only recently left home and had been spending all of my money, from contract work, going on holidays overseas, and then, and so I hadn't had enough savings, but I finally had full-time consistent work and had moved out of home renting with my partner. So I was in a really different life stage than I had ever been in. And now this year I'll be 31. And this year, last April, I got my driver's license as well. So I now had the responsibility of my car. Last August, I bought this house and now had the responsibility of all those bills. Last July, I also got a different job at work and got a slight promotion, which enabled me to do the house purchase. And so basically the spending planner has helped me put everything on a timeline. I know that my rates, my water, my utility, my electricity, my car registration, my car service, my phone bill, all these things that I know are going to come every year in a cycle. They going to keep coming, keep happening. And I put them all into the planner, and I put my income in every fortnight. And that was the best thing at the start of the planner, seeing how much I've got left over after those essential bills.
Yes.
I love the way that you structured it, because we put in our essential expenses, we put in our base income, and then we see what's left.
Yes.
And with that number that's left, you call it giving it a job, which is brilliant. And so now I know that when my car needs fixing, I've got a different account that money comes from, and I've already put it aside. And I know what's another example?
How about when you go to Bunnings?
When I go to Bunnings, that's my guilty pleasure. I'm a bit of a gardener. So when I go to Bunnings, it used to be like, up to $100 or more, because I'd find plants or quirky pots or something cute to hang in the garden, or little statues of birds.
Yes.
So I have put a set amount in my spending planner every month, because I know that inevitably I will go there for something. So say it's $50 a month. I've set it aside already. It's in my FFI. which is the fun, food, fuel, and incidentals, because Bunnings for me is an incidental. It's something I know will happen. It's definitely not essential, but it's something that instead of, buying alcohol or going out for dinner, that is my entertainment, going to Bunnings and buying garden stuff. So that's my incidentals.
Excellent, excellent. And so you know when to stop.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And then I know if I've been really good and I haven't been for a few months, then I've got a bigger amount and don't feel guilty if I do end up spending that.
Exactly. So it's all about giving yourself a boundary, but planning every dollar, So Kirralee was saying that initially we put in the essential costs only. That's just your bare bone basics. We all basically have the same ones and your income. And then the spending planner will calculate how much is left over. And you think, wow, okay. And so it's a time to redecide before you put everything back, all your other expenses in the spending plan, how you want to spend that. And because that basic number is really important to ensure that we know, because we talk about an emergency fund, which is, when I can talk about an emergency fund, it's like a COVID account. Like if you lose your job or you have bad health and you can't work, you need to have at least 3 months of your basic costs in that account so that if you do lose your job or whatever, you don't have to stress. And you don't have to be dependent on the government. You are self-reliant, and that's what we teach. And so, yes. And so what are some of the other, some of the features or other benefits you like of the spending plan?
Yeah, well, the whole thing, the way that it's structured, it just helps you understand why you're doing it. Because it's things that I hadn't thought of very much before. I mean, once you put in your bills and once you understand that amount of money left over and give every dollar a job, you also are told as part of the course to have 5 different accounts to separate your money into buckets. Like what you were just saying, the emergency bucket, the bills bucket where your income comes in and your bills come out and all the other money gets put in the other account so that you can't spend it. And then the triple FI for food, fun, fuel and incidentals, your emergency and your savings. So those and Big Bad Wolf was one of the other ones that you mentioned, which is like the emergency fund, isn't it?
Yeah, just a smaller emergencies like your incidentals and your FFFI are your small emergencies, which to you is kind of Bunnings, and that's okay. And then the Big Bad Wolf is, we want to keep, say, about $2,000 in that account. So that kind of can cover like a couple emergencies if they happen at the same time, if they're like $1,000. And then once we use it, then we just build that back up again. And then the emergency fund, those are for those things that hopefully won't happen in your lifetime, but we still need to be prepared for those. And do you remember one more? One more you've left out. What's the other thing? So you buy things. Replacement. Yeah. And so tell us what that one's about.
So for me as a new homeowner, having only recently moved out of home, and all of my partner's furniture is in this home because I didn't have it.
Yeah.
And now I can start planning to contribute to the household, to replace the fridge when I know it's going to break down in 10 years, and the washing machine, which I know might only last 5 to 10 years, my car every 10 to 15 to 20 years, all those things that have an expiration date that I can plan for and I can plan to replace and put a little bit away now. Instead of a big $10,000 purchase, I've already put a little bit away every week or every month. So it doesn't come as a shock when these things, which we know are going to expire.
Yeah,
so
that's right.
It's really, it feels secure to have that.
Yeah, definitely. And, a lot of people have their head in the sand or just don't. I mean, I have so many people say, I didn't even think about that I actually have to replace my fridge in the future. What happens is it just happens, their fridge breaks and they think, and so if they have savings, they take from their savings or they put it on credit or interest free, where we know your fridge is not going to last forever. So let's just start putting a little bit away each week. And the spending planner does all the calculations. It's a savings account called the long-term replacement savings that you just put money away. And so when those things need to be replaced, the money is there. And for me, my washing machine is 34 years old. And I've had the money in my replacement for 20 years. And I've not had to use it. It's just sitting there waiting for this washing machine. But it's just so good to know that when it finally dies, I have cash and I can go out and I can get a good deal because I'm using cash, which is, excellent. So yeah, it definitely does bring peace of mind to have money for the unexpected, the big bad wolf visits, which he will visit, as well as the replacement of things that you have to replace, and knowing that your bills are taken care of, and your FFFI, which is your weekly spending, so you know when to stop spending. And then, of course, there's your savings accounts, and you can have multiple savings accounts for all the things you really want. Because, and what do you really want? I know that you had just kind of gotten your home loan. From when you got your home loan and then when you created the spending plan, were you able to increase anything on your home loan?
So that's been the best thing, because I didn't have a huge deposit. My loan was quite large, and so it's supposed to be over a 30-year period. But what they were asking me to pay off my loan was less than what our rent had been per week. So I'm like, this doesn't sound right. I'm sure that we could afford to pay more. So by using, after putting all the essential things in and all the other things in, I realized I had this amount left over, and I calculated, okay, I'm allowed to pay an extra $10,000 off my loan every year without being penalized.
Yes.
So this is the minimum amount for the split loan that I have. This is the amount that I can pay on top of that to get to the $10,000 extra I'm allowed to pay. So now I'm paying the maximum that I am allowed to pay off my loan, and it's going to cut 15 years off the loan time.
Yeah.
Which is huge savings in interest. I didn't wish I had a bigger deposit to have started with.
Yeah, but that's it, there's interest. Yeah, you're saving 15 years of interest. That's hundreds of thousands of dollars that you're saving because you're putting that little bit extra in. So that's great. That's really exciting. And so you'll be able to pay off this home, and then you'll be able to go and get an investment or whatever you want. You'll be in a really good position, because when we spend money on things, they lose value as soon as we go. And Susan, as we buy them, anything you put on your credit card or, personal loans, you'll never be able to sell them and get the same amount of money. It's always going to be a lot less. But when you buy property, 9 times out of 10, unless you bought really bad, that's going to gain value. And especially what's happened over the last, year, properties have really gained value. And so it's worth more. And so that's really good.
And I definitely never would have put extra off my loan other than the minimal amount if I couldn't see clearly that money was just sitting there.
Yeah, that's right.
I wouldn't have known that without, because this plan that you help us to use, it shows you 30 years in advance, which is incredible. So I can see the exact month and year that the loan is finished. I put 2 separate accounts that I put in there so I can see that that's being paid off and the exact month and year it will finish. And I can see that, I'm going to have a certain amount and I really want savings by a certain year, so that maybe if I want to start a family, I know that I've got that money sitting there and that my kid's going to be looked after,
Yes.
It won't be taking away from my bills or the replacement stuff. That's my really want. For me, that's my really want, to have enough money to start a family.
Yes.
Because I'm 31 this year, and that's definitely something that, is in the next decade.
Yes, exactly.
It's really exciting
exactly.
to see that there'll be enough there to support us as a family if I had to stop working for any period of time.
Exactly. So smart. And, what they say it costs to raise kids, it's not that much. I remember them saying once it costs $1 million to raise a child till they're 18. I don't think I spent that for all 5 of my kids that we raised. So, but there again, I didn't give my kid everything they wanted. If they wanted someone, I remember when they would start working, I want a phone. Okay, we'll start working and buy a cheap phone. and so it's teaching, and your kids are going to be so lucky because they have a mom who knows how to manage money, and you're going to be like your mom and even be better because you're going to be able to teach them the spending planner system. So that is great. And do you have friends or family? What has been their comments? Have they seen a change in you in regards to your financial literacy and your finances?
I think so. I think my mum is just really, really proud that we were able to buy a home. She's seen us struggle in all different stages in life, and to have gotten to a point where I could do this and that I'm not worried about the responsibility, it's huge. And that's only because I've been able to put all the numbers in and see that it's safe for me to do that.
Yeah.
And even my older brother, who's got 2 properties, and a really big loan at the moment to fix his second house. I've been suggesting it to him because they've got a baby and they've got these 2 properties and this big debt to pay off. And I thought, this could benefit anybody.
Oh,
everybody
exactly.
needs to be able to see, 30 years in advance and plan for that, because you hope that you will be here, but will you be able to look after yourself?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the difference between a budget and a spending plan. Is a budget is more, it's very heavy on tracking the past, but the past is gone. Okay. And then it will say, hey, this paycheck, you should be able to pay this, or maybe this month, but it doesn't show you into the future. And that's the difference with the spending plan. It shows you, like you said, up to 30 years, but you can see your future bank statements for the next 12 months and know that everything will be covered. Or it will show you, hey, in 6 months, your bank balance of that account is going to be a bit too low. So that means you can make a plan now so that doesn't happen. And that's so good. We don't have to guess anymore with like traditional budgeting, or that it's just possible to pay your bills. With a spending plan, it shows you how, and you can know 100% that you're going to be able to pay that. And so before, did you have any money stresses, and what is it like now?
For me, because I'd grown up, in that high budgeting mindset, I always thought, I've not got enough money to do that. I won't do that.
Yeah.
Even though I knew there was money in my account, because I grew up with that mindset of, we can't afford to waste money on this thing. I didn't spend a lot of money before. I'm not somebody who buys new clothes or has hair done or any spa treatments or anything like that. I didn't used to spend money. I'm big on secondhand. But, since having a property, there's a lot of house pride, and I do want this beautiful tree of life hanging from my wall, which someone luckily gave me as a gift, so I didn't have to buy it.
Oh, that's good.
All these quirky garden things to make it feel like my home and my space. So I'm spending more money now than I previously did, but I can see that the money is there and I don't feel bad about it. I used to feel so guilty for getting myself anything because I grew up in a household where it wasn't okay to waste money.
Yeah.
And now it's my money, and I've got a home, and I've got this extra amount that I can see, and I don't feel guilty anymore. I can just live my life within these boundaries and know that once a month I can have takeaway, and I'm going to really appreciate that because that's what I saved for this month.
So you're definitely been transformed to a happy spender, where before you were more like a guilty spender, even though you didn't need to, but you had a traditional budget, which because it guesses, you can't rely on it. So we tend to carry that. We don't trust it. Where with the spending plan, you can definitely trust it because you can see, it's like a crystal ball of your next year spending plus a GPS to show you exactly how to do it. And that's, pardon?
Every week you say to monitor it. So every week you can check and keep an eye on it.
Exactly.
It's really current.
It is. And you can see, and it will tell you even if you have too much money in your bills account. And if you do, then you get to decide, where am I going to put that? I might just go out to dinner, or I'll put it, build up my big bad wolf, or I'm going to put it on my home loan. Yeah, $50, but $50 over time saves you a lot of money. So yeah, you have choices. And the thing is that some people give their money too much power. And where we need to be in total control of our money. And with the spending plan, you can have 100% confidence to do that because you see exactly how it's going to work in the future.
Yeah, and I think I've told a lot of friends about this program, my brothers and my parents and my partner's family. I've
Yes.
got my partner to get the program at least, but I think everybody, they really need to do the program to understand, to do the course to understand the program. Otherwise they don't have the why. They don't have the why of why they're doing it, and they can't do it properly or with the right motivation.
Yes.
So many people see like the initial course cost is, oh, no, if I'm trying to save money, I won't spend that. But actually, I've saved 15 years of interest and a heck of a lot of stress because starting a new job, buying a new house, driving for the first time, those really stressful things. And to have to worry about how I'm going to pay my bills on top of that stress, not having that's worth a fortune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing, because of, and I have various services and you did the 8-week group course, and you basically recoup that by the time you finish the course.
Yeah.
Plus lots more because, we get you to call your provider, see if you can get a better deal. And like I said, putting more money off and paying off debt. If you have debt, we get you to pay off that debt as soon as possible. And that saves you a lot just in interest. And I'm talking consumer debt like credit cards and things that you didn't have, but others do. And so once you pay that debt off, then you have all that extra money, and so, but you do have to invest some time and a little bit of money initially, but now you're set, Kirralee, for the rest of your life. And you have more financial knowledge in basic day-to-day spending than some financial planners. And I'm serious. Just because people are in finance doesn't necessarily mean that they're good with their money. And a spending plan is a new thing, and so thank you so much for spreading the word. And yes, and some people have shame and embarrassment around money, but they don't need to. We've all made bad money choices. But the good thing about the spending plan is it's all about the future. The past is the past. We don't dwell on the past. We start today. Today's a new beginning, and we move forward. And it just brings so much financial peace. So, Kirralee, just in closing, what would be some words, single or a couple words, that you would say would describe how the spending plan makes you feel?
Peace. Security. Yeah, security. Plan. Plan is a really good word, and it's in the title.
Yes.
I have a plan now. Peace, security, plan, goals, future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited for the future?
Yeah, excited.
Yeah.
Excited for the future. And I guess relax, I don't have to worry about this anymore. And I'm someone who's big on worry. I'm usually quite anxious about things, how they will turn out, whether I've done something right. And it's just so black and white. I can see that I don't have to worry about this. There's no point in being anxious because I can see that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
If I follow it, then it'll be okay. If I don't follow it, then I brought it on myself and I have to fix it.
Yeah. And if you don't follow it, it will readjust. And like I said, it's a new day and you just do better in the future. Yeah. So, Kirralee, in closing, if there was someone thinking about doing the spending plan, but they're thinking, just not sure if I should spend that money, what would you say to them?
It's really worth the investment. I was the same. I'm someone who doesn't like to part with my money, but I knew that I was about to invest a huge amount into a property, and I knew that I'd got a new job, and I knew that I didn't know where my money was going. And that's scary to know that I've got money coming in and know all these bills are coming up, but to not know where my money is going, to not have that fear anymore, that's worth paying for the course. But then to be able to plan for the future, I mean, there's no price to put on that, especially at a younger age. I mean, I wish I did this before university, or I wish I did this as soon as I graduated uni, or before I went on all those international trips. You know, I wish that I'd known there were bigger things that I could have been planning for, to set me up for life and still be able to do all those fun things.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And that's it. It's called a spending plan. And you could have still gone on trips, but you would have had maybe, made sure that, your other whys came through as well.
And at any age, this is useful. This is useful for people who've just retired even, because that's another huge change in life.
It is.
Not got the money coming in as much, but you still got bills going out. So I try to get my parents on board.
Exactly. I've been to a few financial planner seminars recently, and they talk about how they can get you and how to accumulate and get the most for your retirement. And at the end of the presentation, which was really good, but it's like they stopped halfway through the story. Okay, we got the money, but how are you going to manage it? If you need to be able to make sure that money in your retirement does last until you are 90 or whatever. And so having a spending plan is the answer. And I have people who are retired who come and they have that stress, and then they put everything in the spending plan, and that eliminates all stress. And it should, because when you're retired, especially, you should not have money stress. That should be the time when you really enjoy your money. And, but again, you're smart. You're starting early to prepare for that time. So thank you, Kirralee. I really enjoyed mentoring you as your spending planner. And what were the benefits of having a spending planner on your side?
Just being able to ask the one-on-one questions. I mean, so often you would give us extra time, like those sessions one-on-one every few weeks, so that we could go through in detail each person's plan. At the beginning, it was a bit confusing, not having done anything like it before, and not having ever had so many different bank accounts, and just problem solving to get it all set up right, so I didn't have to worry about it again. You were amazing. You were amazing, just answering those questions so honestly and simply. You didn't complicate things. Yes.
Well, I'm not a complicated person, so I have to have things explained to me very simply. So yes, I do explain it very simply. And there is a mind shift. You're right, because budgeting is about tracking the past and paying for things in installments, where with a spending plan, we just pay for it when it's due. It's all forward planning. And so it does, but once you get that shift, which you get within, probably 3 weeks, then you think, wow, I wish I would have had this earlier.
And you break it down into steps as well. All the resources you gave us, like the color-coded spreadsheet of the different expenses. That kind of stuff, really, really helpful. I can't imagine being able to do the program without that first step of breaking up all the expenses into the essential and non-essential and replacements and all that stuff.
Exactly. And there's my online course, which kind of steps you through it. And then the webinars, the weekly webinars, is to kind of reinforce and do some more teaching and answer questions. So it was a pleasure to have you in the group. And thank you so much for your time today. And just continue to tell people. They will, as they see, they're going to say, wow, she really knows what she's doing, and I think I need to listen. So thank you. And we will see everyone else next Tuesday for Essential Money Talks. Okay, choose financial freedom.